They thought Grandma was too old, too weak, too forgetful to notice what they were doing. They pushed her into a nursing home and started planning how to sell her house. But the very next day, everything flipped upside down. Because Grandma wasn't the fragile old woman they thought she was. She was 3 steps ahead, and when the lawyer showed up, the look on their faces was priceless. Family can be the people who love you the most, or the people who betray you the quickest when money is involved. This story is about greed, betrayal, and the sweetest justice. It's about my grandma, the woman everyone thought they could take advantage of. But when the dust settled, she had the last laugh. Growing up, Grandma's house was the heart of our family. It wasn't just a building. It was where birthdays were celebrated, Christmas dinners were held, and where we'd run around as kids while she baked cookies and told us stories. She'd raised 3 kids in that house, and after Grandpa passed away, it was all she had left of him. But as she got older, things started changing. My uncle and aunt, who were always more focused on money than relationships, started circling like vultures. Every time we had a family gathering, they'd drop little comments like, "Mom, it's too much house for you now," or, "Wouldn't it be easier if you just moved into a home?" At first, Grandma brushed it off. She was still active, sharp as ever, and loved tending her garden. But when she fell one winter and broke her hip, everything changed. That was the excuse they needed. The day after her surgery, while she was still recovering, my aunt sat beside her hospital bed and said, "Mom, you can't live alone anymore. It's not safe. We've already talked it over. We're moving you into Sunny Pines Nursing Home." No discussion, no options, just a decision made behind her back. Grandma didn't argue. She looked tired, defeated, and for a moment I actually believed she had given up, but I should have known better. When Grandma was discharged from the hospital, she was moved into Sunny Pines. It wasn't the worst place, but it wasn't home either. The first time I visited her there, she grabbed my hand and whispered, "They think they've won, but they don't know what's coming." I leaned closer, confused. "What do you mean?" She smiled. "They're planning to sell my house. I heard them talking in the hallway before they left me here. But that house isn't theirs to take." My heart dropped. Of course, that's what this was all about. Not her health, not her safety, but her house. It was a charming old place, paid off, in a neighborhood that had skyrocketed in value. Selling it would mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. My uncle and aunt weren't thinking about Grandma's comfort, they were thinking about their bank accounts. Grandma continued, "I called my lawyer yesterday. We've already set things in motion. I'm not telling you everything yet, but trust me, they're in for a surprise." That was the moment I realized my sweet, gentle grandmother wasn't going to let herself be walked over. She had a plan. Meanwhile, my aunt and uncle were moving fast. Within a week, they were cleaning out her house. They started boxing up her things, family photos, old furniture, even her wedding dress that had been in the attic for decades. When I asked them what they were doing, they shrugged and said, "No point in keeping junk around. We'll list the place soon, and buyers don't want clutter junk." That junk was her life. They even held a celebration dinner one night. I got invited, but Grandma wasn't. At that dinner, they bragged about how they'd finally taken responsibility and how the money from selling the house would help everyone in the family. But I noticed something. They never mentioned Grandma. To them, she was already gone. What they didn't know was that Grandma's lawyer had drawn up new papers. She hadn't just updated her will, she had transferred ownership of the house, but not to them. The twist? Grandma didn't just leave me the house. She also left behind a message. One I'll never forget. A few weeks later, my aunt decided to host another family dinner. She called it a closing dinner, almost like a victory party before the house went on the market. I went, but I brought someone with me. Halfway through the meal, while my uncle was pouring wine and bragging about how the house was as good as sold, there was a knock on the door. My aunt opened it, expecting maybe a neighbor. Instead, standing there was Grandma's lawyer, briefcase in hand. The room went silent. He walked in, set his briefcase on the table, and pulled out several documents. "Good evening, I'm here on behalf of your mother." My uncle tried to play it cool. Yes, yes, we know. The sale is almost ready. The paperwork. The lawyer raised a hand. Actually, that won't. She said, love creates legacy, but greed destroys family. And she was right. Subscribe for more stories where justice always finds a way. They thought Grandma was too old to the market. I went, but I brought. Yes, yes, we know. The sale is almost ready. The paperwork. The lawyer raised a hand. Actually, that won't. She said, love creates legacy, but greed destroys family. And she was right. Subscribe for more stories where justice always finds a way.